Good morning. All right, so my name is Mamcy, and it's my pleasure and honor to be here. I am from the fintech company called Happay. We are into automating expense, but I'm here to mostly talk about the market trends, what's happening today. And let's start off with the CIOs, right? So when we talk about the CIO role, it's evolving. Reason being, companies are innovating a lot. CIOs are no more technology leaders, but a bridge between business and technology, aligning to companies' goal, understanding the pain points, identifying the pain points, developing it, and giving you measurable outcomes. So they're more of strategic visionaries, and that's what is changing and evolving. And we have observed that with many cases that we have dealt in our recent times with the case studies, where a lot of CIOs, the technology leaders, are involved in making the right choices and making sure that their goals are met. The next that I would like to cover is there are top digital initiatives that we have observed in this year to come. The first one is your ESG initiatives and practices. Simple example I will give you, where we are seeing that data centers will consume up to 13% of global electricity by 2030. Now, this is one environmental aspect which has really made the leaders think, especially the CIOs think. The second is that companies want to work on carbon footprint. We'll dig a bit deeper on this subject, but to tell you that this is really gaining its importance. Second, I think we all know data security is very important. Entire fraternity is over here talking about security. Cyber attacks do happen, and it becomes very important to secure, maintain, protect data. At the end of the day, give that trust to your customers. The next is your compliance. Regulatory compliance, we all know how stringent they are, how important they are. It can cost millions and trillions of dollars for any organization if any breach happens. But more than that, being updated, making sure that you are not facing the penalties, and not having a reputational damage is also very much important and critical. And this is one of the key initiatives which we are seeing where the technology leaders are focusing on. Last but not the least is innovation. As I mentioned, that innovation is the key. We see a lot of companies having already a strategy in place. That's again very, 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 very critical. More than that, using your new trend technologies, making sure that you get measurable outcomes, your ROI returns. Now, these are some of the focus areas for the leaders which we have observed during our discussions. Moving on, I want to give some importance and talk about ESG. Companies are moving beyond making profits. Companies are thinking of maintaining their sustainability in the market. It is also talking about the reputation. Now let's dissect this a bit. When we talk about environmental, it's all about your carbon emissions. It is about your waste management, your resource usage. That plays a vital role. Your social will talk about how you treat your employees, how you treat your customers, how secure and how protected is your product. That's again is very, very vital. Your labor practices, that's where your social aspects come into. Then we talk about your governance, where your corporate ethics is very much critical. How are you managing your board, your compensation of the board? Now all these things play a very, very, very vital role. Now, what we have observed is regulators, traders, and public, they are very much concerned about the ESG. And they're scrutinizing organizations who are not following these practices. On the other hand, the companies who are following these ESG practices are able to take risk better, are able to sustain better, and grow better. Hence, there is a lot of importance given to ESG practices, which also makes sure that you have a brand associated, your customers look at you, they are loyal to you, it also attracts investors. So this is something which has really hit the market, and I would like to throw some light on this as mentioned. Yeah. Moving on, we all know compliance, be it any type of compliance to data, compliance to your policies, it is very, very critical. And imagine a T&E system, a travel and expense system coming in picture, where we have seen and observed that an automated travel and expense system in any organization can save up to 50% of fraud. And we can prove you with the statistics, we can also show you with the features that we have implemented, right? Moving on, this is a very interesting piece. Now, we've observed some of the global leaders, how they're responding to various challenges. And I'm going to highlight the challenges and tell you what solutions or what are the best practices that people are following. The first is your sustainable IT practices. Now, we all are talking about sustainability, right? So it's all about using green computing methods, removing your hardware which is going to cause and harm to the environment. That's again a very important factor. We have seen organizations moving from on-prem to a cloud solution, optimizing your data. So these are some of the things which we see in sustainable IT practices. That's the next subject, which is your sustainable travel and expense. Now, your travel is very, very, very critical again over here. Providing an eco-friendly travel options, which can help you to understand the environment better. Working on your policies, which mode of transport to use, air, train, which flight is giving you more carbon emissions. These are some of the things which can help you to attain this. And travel doesn't stop there. It is also about digitizing your expense management. The same system which is going to help you in capturing expenses, reporting expenses is also very, very critical, right? Next, we move on to data governance. Yes, we all know about this, taking measurable controls, making sure that things are in place, you're following the frameworks, GDPR norms, and various other things. Very critical in any tool that you implement that this piece is well intact, right? T&E for compliance, that's also very interesting. We have seen organization moving from manual to completely a digital environment, from paper to completely digital, and adoption is also very critical. Framing policies is wonderful, but we need to comply. The system should be able to help you to make sure that you educate the policies, tell them, and also a very interesting piece on how you can prevent cash leakages and make sure that you are abiding to the auditing engine of ours, right? The next piece, I think this is a very famous approach, which is your zero trust architecture. Always verify. As the cybersecurity approach says, never trust and always verify, and that's the key. And I see a lot of leaders implementing this and moving in this direction. Last but not the least is your innovation. The system should be able to help you to frame, adapt, scale, and making sure that you get your results as well, which is the ROI. Okay, now let's talk about India. We have covered your ESG and compliance. India is a dynamic country, a different culture, diversity. We are a growing economy, and a lot of companies are coming up, which also means a lot of travel, which also means transportation services are increasing. So you need a system which can give you the best practices. A carbon footprint needs to be analyzed, which can give you a sustainable solution where your journey from paper to digital is completely seamless. So that is something that you should look at. Second thing, what we've observed is India's regulations are pretty complex. Your anti-bribery regulations are pretty complex. So again, a tool which can help you to automate that is very much critical. Third is that we are different. We are different from the West world. We have our own culture, our own regions, and what works over there might not work here, right? So it's very important that you have a tailor-made solution, which is completely fitting your ecosystem. Configuration is one key word which I would like to highlight over here. We have seen a lot of companies, different companies have different, thought process, their ways of functioning is different, their policies are different. So you need a tailor-made solution which can work for your ecosystem, and that's something which is also picking up in India. Right, now let's talk about us, which is Happay. Happay is associated with travel and expense. We've been there in the business for almost a decade now, and I'm here to highlight how Happay can help you reduce 40% of your carbon emission and increase or improve 20% of your compliance with our organization. And we have done this, we have accomplished this with the technology that we provide in the market today. And I would like to highlight that we have a very interesting travel technology which gives you insights, which gives you data on some of the best practices that needs to be adhered in travel. I did speak about how your policies needs to be configured as per your ecosystem, and that's very, very critical, right? So our system today will be able to give you the data points which will help you to make decisions. We also are working with a lot of partners in the market, sharing some of the best practices, not just in India, but across the globe. Now, that's the beauty of the platform as well. And these data points will help you reduce the 40% reduction in carbon emission, which I'm talking of. The second most important is when companies move from manual to digital, and especially when we talk about T&E systems, I see a lot of T&E systems are fragmented. Travel is happening in one system, expense is happening in another system. The travel and expense system also needs to speak with your other technologies, your project management tool, your accounting platform. Now, that is also very much fragmented. I would recommend, and I strongly feel that you need to have a complete integrated platform where you get the relevant data, right? And when you're moving from paper to digital, right from capturing of expenses to reporting, we have used AI/ML, which really differentiates us from the rest of the players. Also for the fact that the travel is also very critical part of the expense management. That is also something which I see fragmented. It's pretty immature market, especially in India, and we are trying to streamline that piece, providing you a unified solution, which has also helped us in turn, you use paper less, so you conserve your water and trees. Now, that's the other way and other angle to look at it. Right. Now, let's talk about the compliance. A very strong, robust compliance engine, which is there, which not just tells you when you're violating the policy, but gives you insights on some of the things that you should do better to make your policies. Another very interesting feature that we have is the auditing feature of ours, which automatically helps you to identify if there is any fraudulent activity or if there is any cash leakages, and we have a testament for it. I remember one of the largest car manufacturing companies in India. They had a travel spends of around 100 to 120 CR. They used our auditing piece and they identified that 7 CR were duplicate expenses. Now, that is something which has really worked well. A bit on our technology, we use image recognition methods where it compares your invoices using the image recognition technology. There are a lot of players in T&E, but this is one thing which has really worked very well for us and beautifully for us. In fact, the big fours who are using our services as well are quite happy with the savings that we can do using our auditing piece. So this is something I would like to highlight and would love to discuss as well in case you want to, right? I think I've briefed you enough on the trends, on Happay. Just want to leave you with this thought: why organization consider us? It's quite a dynamic market. You have the established players, you have leaders like us, you have the upcoming players, and it's great to have competition as well. But 5 reasons and 5 things which I want to leave you with. A, comprehensive integration. Now that's the key. As I mentioned earlier, T&E system cannot be fragmented. It needs to speak to each other. It needs to be integrated. And if that happens, obviously, you will get your data. You will get your analytics from the system itself, and that's what we recommend. The next is, automated compliance. I think I've spoken much and enough about how robust is our engine, how robust is our auditing piece. But then this is also something which differentiates us and one of the good things to look at when you're considering a T&E system. Most important is that technology should be easy to adapt. Technology should be, user-friendly. A layman should understand the language, and the user should be able to use. We're talking about different personas here: people on the ground, people who are not tech-savvy, people who are, evaluating your expenses. So different personas which we cater to. Now, this is one of our key strengths, and I can definitely vouch for this one. This is something where we always get brownie points on, that it needs to be user-friendly. And when we are going global, and we are already a global company, I'm sure the customers that we engage with are looking for scalability. That's again another key factor why companies consider us. So with this thought, I would like to end here. In case if you have any inputs, would love to share with you. We are outside and would love to also share some of the case studies that we have done and how we have disrupted the market. Thank you so much for listening. Have a great day. Thank you. Yep.
So when you say analytics, so what does it mean? Like, are you going to analyze the price or the expenses could have been reduced? Is that the end goal? Or what do you mean by data analytics?
To an extent, yes. When we talk about analytics, it starts from the base, right from working on what's happening in the market, what are the best practices, revamping your policies, configuring your policies as per your ecosystem, right? And as I mentioned, when it comes to travel, it's pretty immature in India. There are many players who have come, who have gone, and it is also very dynamic, when it comes to each of the products. Flight is different versus how hotel is designed. So our expertise come over there as well. We introducing you to the right platform, giving a technology which can tell you how much of savings needs to be done. Also giving you insights on, on the carbon emissions, on the data inputs. Those are some of the areas which also probably you can think of. And then integrating with the other frameworks, as I mentioned. Yes, once that is done, then all you have is you already have the data with you. It's just about representing the data, right? And we have a very comprehensive analytics tool which has helped a lot of business leaders and give insights on that. The beauty again is that in case you want us to integrate that with a BI tool, first of all, you will not need a BI tool. But then in case you want to still analyze and rework on the data, we can also help you to integrate with the BI tool or any other tool for that matter.
On the data part that we were talking about, is this data being collected by your company or you are partnering with various other companies to collect the data?
So, I will not be able to share the data of my customers. I mean, that's a compliance issue. But what we're trying to do is we're trying to work with your data. Definitely share the data about the market, share some of the best practices happening. But then it is more about working on your data and optimizing that. That's the objective.
That's where my question was coming from, because you were talking about collecting data in the marketplace and you are looking at various benchmarks, right, against which you are sort of mapping up your customers. So when you're doing that mapping, you present that benchmark data, that is compliant, right?
Yep.
Do we have any more questions?
Right. So I'll probably share you a case study where this was completely a paper-driven organization, and they didn't have any travel partners in place. They didn't know how to go about it. So first of all, we had to work on their policies, identify what are the major touch points where the employees travel a lot. Where you need to include air, you include air there. And otherwise, you also ask them to take the channel of train or a bus or any other mode of transport. So that's one on revamping the policies. Second, we brought in some of the good players from travel industry. Now, the unfortunate scene is that if you're associated with a travel vendor, again, it's a fragmented experience because you're using the travel partner's technology platform. And if you're not happy with any of their products, say for instance, you like the flight inventory, but the hotel inventory might not suit your needs. But then if you want to think of a second partner, again, it becomes a fragmented experience because now you need to switch between your flight vendor and hotel vendor. My technology will be able to plug in your multi-suppliers under the same framework. That's one, which means the choice is yours, the bouquet is yours. You want to have A partner giving you flight inventory, B partner giving you hotel inventory. You can very much do that with the technology that we are offering. So that was the second thing. Third was once they started using, our services, they analyzed that carbon footprints were coming a lot, say from a flight versus another flight. What are the best practices that you need to use? Duty of care is also something which is very important and critical, which we got that done for, for our customers using our partnership. So those were some of the methods where the emissions were reduced in terms of travel. The next part is your expense management. Now, expense management is again fragmented, right? We're giving you a unified experience. Capturing expense through different means is also very critical. Ease of use is also very critical. Integrating your credit cards, having your own payment stack. So Happay has its own payment stack as well, where we provide prepaid cards. So those were some of the channels where the expenses were also completely automated, which helped them, giving them the relevant points and reducing the emissions.